श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Can you hear the birds here? So in the ashram, this reminds me of the ashram because they're just in the hills, in the forest area, and we constantly hear these sounds. And if it is disturbing, let me know. I can close this window. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, birds are very loud though.
Very loud, yeah. It's so go ahead and pause the recording. वासुदेवेन्द्र योगीन्द्रं नत्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुं मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय तत्त्वबोधो विधीयते. Okay, so let us chant a couple of verses here. So let's see. Surendra ji, would you like to repeat? Yeah, can you unmute yourself? Yeah. So 3.1. Sthula sharirabhimani
स्थूल शरीराभिमानी
जीवनामकं
जीवनामकं
ब्रह्म प्रतिबिंबं भवति
ब्रह्मं प्रतिबिंबं भवति
स एव जीवः
स एव जीवः
प्रकृत्या स्वस्मात् ईश्वरं भिन्नत्वेन जानाति अविद्या उपाधिस्सन् आत्मा जीवः इत्युच्यते मायोपाधिस्सन् आत्मा ईश्वरः इत्युच्यते. Okay. You can remain unmuted. A couple of you can unmute yourself. So last time we were talking about this Upadhi, and prior to that we saw that this Jiva Namakam Sthula Sharira Abhimani. This entity, this person, this conscious being who takes ownership to this body, Sthula Sharira Abhimani, the one who says, this is my body, this is me, I am the one, my date of birth is so and so, I did this and I did that. That person, Sthula Sharira Abhimani, which we call Jiva, Jiva Namakam, Dhamma Pratibimbam Bhavati, is but a reflection of Brahma, is but a manifestation of Brahma. We saw that Saha eva Jivaha, that Jivaha alone considers oneself to be separate from everything else. Considers oneself to be separate. And why is that? Prakritya. Prakritya. So by nature, because of non-inquiry, takes oneself to be different from everybody else. So by nature, so you look at the sun, and the sun, everybody looks at the sun, and without inquiry, I will assume that the sun is revolving around the earth. That's all the knowledge I have. I look at something and then I make a conclusion. I'm forced to make a conclusion also. Correct? I can't remain without making a conclusion. That also is a problem. So I'm forced to make a conclusion one way or the other, until somebody says it is otherwise. So Prakritya, another word we use is Avichara Siddhi Prakritya. Right? Avichara Siddhi. So Siddhi means conclusion, and a conclusion born of not Vichara, Avichara. Vichar karna hai, so inquire, study, think about it, etc. That is called Vichara. But without thinking about it, I make a conclusion. That is called Avichara Siddhi Prakritya. Okay, we saw all that. Then we came back to the topic of Upadhi. Which we saw some examples earlier. The rose flower that is there on the table, and there is the crystal clear glass next to it, and that glass takes on the rose color, as it were, and I can easily assume the glass is rose in color, but it isn't. Red in color, but it isn't. So that rose flower is considered to be an upadhi for the glass. Upadhi because the qualities, the upadhi is the one that seems to give the qualities to the crystal. Upadhi is that which has some gunas, has some qualities, and those qualities appear to be taken up by the glass crystal. Okay, so that is what is called upadhi. And here we will say this particular body is called the upadhi. The jiva is called the upadhi. Like that we use, the Shastra uses terms. Because I am making a mistake here. Atma which has no qualities whatsoever. And that Atma, on that Atma I have superimposed qualities that it doesn't have. Qualities of, tall, short, and I am vulnerable, I am sick, I am subject to death. Ityadi qualities I have given to Atma. And therefore, a superimposition is there. And what makes me make that superimposition? It is avidya. Avidya is what? It's a lack of knowledge, ignorance. And so he says that here, avidya upadhihi san. With avidya as the upadhi, because avidya is what is making me do this, they have termed avidya as the upadhi. And when avidya is the upadhi, what happens? Atma jivaha iti uchyate. Atma becomes the jiva, as it were. Correct? Becomes the jiva. Atma cannot become jiva. Atma cannot become anything, actually speaking. Actually speaking, nothing can happen. But as it were, we call that Atma as jiva. That entity which is confused about itself is called jiva. Correct? It's called jiva. So therefore, I think we translated this last time, right? The verse number 3.2. Did we? Okay, we did not.
No, we did not.
So here we would say the self being one with the upadhi, the self being one with the upadhi of ignorance is called jiva, the individual. Is called jiva, the individual. So it is that ignorance which makes me commit an error. See, ignorance is there, but then after that, immediately after that, I make an error. I make an error, big error it is. And so that ignorance born error gives me the status of a jiva. Okay. Okay, this much we saw. Then the next one, now he is saying, yeah, go ahead, Swapna.
So you said that, or the statement is, Vidya is the upadhi that makes the Atma, that makes us think that Atma is Jiva?
Yeah, so we don't
body,
say it makes us.
Or whatever, I don't know how to say it, but so body is not the upadhi for Atma?
Yeah, so that's what. Body can be the upadhi, but the problem is body is also an upadhi. Upadhi can be anything. Okay, upadhi can be anything, right? So we will use the word upadhi for the body also in occasions. But here the avidya must be used as the upadhi, because avidya is the root cause, if you want to call it. It is the root cause of the mistake I make. Root cause. And then I can make a series of mistakes after that, one after the other. It is not, I don't declare in the morning, I don't get up and say, I am the Atma which is confused and therefore I am Jiva. We don't make those kinds of statements. But by our taking ourselves to be so many different things, it becomes obvious that I am making a mistake. I start the day with a mistake. Okay. So technically avidya would be the upadhi. And then we, of course, we use the words like Vishesha Upadhi, Upadhi Visheshaha, right? We saw that. So, Puja Swamiji, Upadhi Visheshaha. So, many Mahans are there, many Mahatmas in India. Upadhi Visheshaha. So something special. Special jiva. In other words, a jiva who is a blessing to the world. Correct? Blessing to the world. That is we call Upadhi Vishesha. So, but here technically speaking, avidya is called the Upadhi. Because it is what causes all these mistakes to happen. Okay. Okay. Now, the next one is what he's talking about Ishvara next. So, Maya Upadhihi San Atma Ishvaraha iti uchyate. That is the statement. Correct? So, he's making a complementary statement to 3.2 is making. So in the previous statement, the word Brahma is dropped. He just goes with Atma. Previously he says Atma. Now also Upadhi San Atma Ishvaraha iti uchyate. He is saying. So Brahma is gone, dropped off. So he is assuming, we know very well now, by now, that Atma and Brahma, there is no difference at all. What is the difference? Why two words are needed if there is no difference? So with the Brahma, with respect to the body, when we talk about, we use the word Atma. Use the word Atma. And then when that same Brahma is referred to with respect to the Jagat, to Ishvara, then the word Brahma is used. That's the only difference. But it's not like Brahma has become Brahma when you catch it and put it in this body and enclose it, then it becomes Atma. So it's not like that. Okay. All right. So previously what did we say? Brahmashraya Maya Trigunatmika Maya Asti. We saw that earlier, right? So that Maya is Brahmashraya. Maya is dependent on Brahman. Maya's existence comes from Brahma only. So it is not a separate existence. So therefore, now he is saying Brahma plus Maya is Ishvara. Or Atma plus Maya is equal to Ishvara. How is that possible? So that is what he is saying here. Here Maya is used. Maya is the Upadhi for Brahma. For Brahma to become Ishvara, because even Ishvara, I am superimposing some attributes. So we say Ishvara is Sarva Karanam, right? Creator of this world, Nimitta Karanam, Upadana Karanam, these words we have used. So Nimitta Karanam means the creator of this entire world, which means the power of creation is given. But that is a quality that is, Brahma doesn't have that quality. Brahma cannot have that quality. Because Brahma is Nirguna. It cannot have the quality. Therefore, there must be an Upadhi. There must be an Upadhi for Brahma to be called Ishvara. And what could be that Upadhi? He says Maya is the Upadhi for that. Maya is the conditional adjunct which gives the status of Ishvara to Brahma. Just like Avidya gives the status of Jiva to Atma. Because Ishvara is Sarvajnaha, all-knowing, we say. Because it has to be, Ishvara has to be all-knowing in order for this creation to happen. So we make a side note that the all-knowing does not need a buddhi, does not need a mind. A mind is needed only when something is to be known and knowledge has to be gathered. But in the case of Ishvara, we say often that buddhi is not needed. A stronger statement is there is no question of buddhi. Buddhi is not needed because sarvagnya. Sarvagnya. And also no avidya. Avidya also not possible because sarvagnya means can't have avidya. So therefore, just by the way, that is. So Maya is the upadhi for Brahma to be Ishvara. And put it slightly differently, Brahma plus Vyashti upadhi. We used the word Vyashti and Samashti some time ago. We introduced. Vyashti is this individual related to a finite quantity, microcosm, that is called Vyashti. Macrocosm called Samashti, the total, the limited and the total. Vyashti and Samashti. So Brahma or Atma plus Vyashti upadhi is Jiva. Brahma or Atma plus Samashti upadhi, that means the total upadhi, is called Ishvara. This is another way the Shastra puts it. Okay. Now, having said this, what happens when avidya is gone? What happens? The question may temporarily arise because we talk about avidya nivritti, correct? We talk about removal of that avidya, which is moksha, purushartha. So then, what happens to jiva? What happens to Ishvara? Jiva continues to be because jiva is born of prarabdha karma vashat, avidya vashat, jiva is there. But then, because the person no longer superimposes, like the person having come to know that this is a rope, this is not a snake. Okay? The minute you come to know that, you cannot see a snake. Even if I force you, come on, please see, there is a snake there. You can't see a snake. Correct? Because the knowledge is crystal clear. And so after once the knowledge takes place, you cannot make a mistake. Correct? But the rope continues to be. Rope doesn't disappear. What about snake? Did the snake disappear? Did the snake disappear? That is the question. What happened? Did I do some magic and the snake disappeared? Did the snake get afraid of me or something and ran away? No. The snake did not disappear because the snake was not there to begin with. The snake was there sitting on the rope, then we can say, my goodness, look at the way the snake thinks the other rope is also a snake or something, we don't know. And then afterwards it ran away. We can say all that. But here the snake was not there. But yet it is there. Yet it is there, because if the snake was not there, how come I have fear? Why did I become afraid? Why did I scream, there is a snake, there is a snake? That is why they say, this is anirvachaniya. This mithya is anirvachaniya. So we may have covered it somewhat, mentioned it. Anirvachaniya means what? That which cannot be categorically stated as being existent or as being non-existent. Correct? You can't say snake exists, because if snake exists, then it will never go. And you can't say snake does not exist, because if it did not exist, how come I saw the snake? Question will come. So this is called mithya. Mithya, everything, mithya is all like this only. All mithya. Even things in this world which I take as real. Every object in this world. Yeah,
So anirvachaniya is mithya, is a synonym for mithya?
So anirvachaniya is vachaniya means what? Can be categorically stated. That is called vachaniya. Anirvachaniya means, or nirvachaniya. Nirvachaniya, categorically stated. Anirvachaniya cannot be categorically stated. Nishchayena vachaniya, nirvachaniya. That means with certainty you can say something. With certainty. That is what nirvachaniya means. So we are just making an observation about mithya. It is not a synonym for mithya. We are making an observation about the nature of existence of mithya. Tell me, does mithya exist or not? If somebody asks, what will you say? We say we cannot say it exists. We cannot say it does not exist. That is what mithya is. Because exist means always exists. Existence cannot go. No, it exists for some time. You say, which is what all objects in this world falls in that category, exists for some time, correct? But we have analyzed these objects and we've said no object remains the same in the axis of time, correct? No object remains the same. So therefore that existence, that which you thought exists, this body I thought is existing, but really speaking, today's body is different from yesterday's body. We all saw that before. So there is an appearance of permanence, the so-called permanence, right? Even we know the body is not permanent, that we know. But even this idea that the things that I see in my room today are the same things I saw yesterday. There's no difference. Nothing new has come. Nothing has evaporated. Nothing has disappeared. So it's all the same objects. I can count the objects. If I open the almirah, I know what is there in that, and those things are there in the almirah. So there seems to be a permanence, but that's only an apparent permanence. You cannot prove that it's really the same object. We take it, yeah, it's the same thing. I can live with what is going on, and but really speaking, it is not the identical thing. That's all we are saying. Okay, so mithya, and the jiva continues. So after the so-called avidya nivritti, after the removal of ajnanam, what happens? Just like I don't see the snake anymore, I don't look upon myself as a jiva anymore. So the jivatvam, the status of being a jiva is gone, but the body, etc., continues to be. It has to continue because it is born of prarabdha. There is a prarabdha karma, and then that defines the journey of this body. It has to live for some years and then it has to drop off. So sometimes they say after moksha, then what? Body disappears. So this idea and all we don't need to have, because body and moksha are not connected to each other. Correct? Body and moksha are not connected to each other. This jiva, the conscious being, and moksha are somewhat connected. Because the body is not suffering. I say I am suffering. body doesn't care. It puts on weight, it loses weight, and all this it does, and it happily does all these things. But there is a conscious entity that says, oh my God, I put on weight. Holidays, 2 weeks, and we went around and now I put on weight. Big problem. So the body doesn't have the problem. The jiva has the problem. Means the one who is conscious, who is alive to this world, that entity has the problem. Correct? So body continues. Nothing, nobody can do anything about this body. It will continue as long as it has to continue. Okay? So just by the way, and that Jivan Muktaha and all, the topic will come a little later also. So we will not elaborate much on that. So therefore, with Jivaha and Ishvaraha being defined this way, then the question is asked, so what will I gain by, okay, I understand this avidya is there, and if I gain this knowledge, what will happen? Why should I study this? Okay, avidya, I seem to understand that avidya is a cause for my making mistakes about myself and the world, and I need to remove that avidya. Okay, then what? Suppose I remove that avidya. I learned and I got it. And then what? What will happen to me? Matlab kya hai? What is the, we all should ask, we ask questions, right? We don't things do that are not beneficial to us. So we always have a matlab. Sometimes they say matlabi hai. Ye both matlabi hai. So matlabi hai means that fellow is looking for something in every relationship, and every time he spends 5 minutes with you, he wants something out of it. Like that occasionally we see also. But yeah, something similar. Here also you can ask the question. So tell me what do I gain by appreciating this fact? In the next statement, he's going to say, what do you lose? What do you lose by not gaining this knowledge? Okay. So let us read that. Aniruddha, would you like to?
Yes, I had a question as well earlier, but maybe we can get to it after the verse.
Sure. Okay, so we will chant this 3.4. Sure. Evam upadhi bhedat jiveshwara bheda drishtihi yavat paryantam tishtati tavat paryantam janma maranadi rupa samsaraha na nivartate. Yeah.
Can I ask my question, Jayakumar ji, now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So earlier we made the distinction between Brahma and creation. We are saying that the creation and avidya, the avidya is the upadhi for creation, and we interpret Brahma as Ishwaras, or we look at Brahma as Ishwara, is how I look at it. Now, the phenomena of creation, that means, is happening independent, obviously, of the Brahma. So, is that what we called Srishti earlier? Is that how does that the whole phenomena of creation, as it's unfolding even now, how is that to be sort of interpreted. Let's say.
Yeah, so that is, it's the same thing. The Srishti we talked about before is the play of Maya and Avidya. So because Avidya and Maya are the Upadhi, especially Maya, let's talk about Maya, because Srishti, Ishvara Srishti. So the world, I did not create the world. So then who created the world means Maya has to come into play. So Maya Upadhi son Ishvarasya Srishti. Ishvara Srishti is manifesting all the laws that are there, that are operating, which we see. These laws are nothing but Ishvara. And therefore, the world also, for us in our view, is not separate from that Ishvara. And the laws are operating, so Srishti is constantly operating. Okay. So that same Brahmashraya Maya Ishvaraha operating as, how do you recognize Ishvara? Hey, everything that is here, everything, all the laws that you know and the all laws you don't know are all operating here. What we know is only a little bit. So in the entire universe, so many laws are operating, and even the laws I think I know are only partially known, and there is lot more to know. All that is Ishvara operating. Then what about the Srishti? What about the creation? What about all these objects? Things that the human being created, and things that are not created by the human being. If you ask, yeah, that also is Ishvara. Because Brahma Ashraya. Everything is Brahma and nothing is separate from Brahma. Therefore, everything is Ishvara. Everything is Brahma, everything is Ishvara. We use those statements. We make those statements. Okay. Now he's saying, I take this Upadhi as Satyam. Means I take this Sthula Shariram. I don't know anything about this Avidya Upadhi. I don't know anything about this ignorance. Nobody told me anything about this ignorance. So I take everything as real as I can take it. I don't know any better. And therefore, having taken myself as this limited to this body, and having looked at this world, and which is so vast, and having heard about Ishvara, it is very obvious that I have to make a conclusion that I am an individual. Yeah, I am part of this world, but I am not the world. The world is too big. I am a small speck in this world. And Ishvara is there. Ishvara all pervasive. And yes, let Ishvara be, and I am only so much. This is called Bheda Drishti. Okay, this much we have seen. And that Bheda Drishti, in this verse, he is going to call it as samsara. Samsara. So he's saying, what is that samsara? Janma Maranadi Rupa Samsara. Janma Maranadi Rupa Samsara. So I think this is the first time he's introduced the word samsara here. And it's good because we need to, that word comes, Shankara uses it all the time in his Bhashyam commentary. And Samyak Sarati iti samsara. The one who goes about doing things, getting things, doing things, getting things, being born, does things, and dies away and comes back again. Why comes back again? Because no choice. Because he never wanted to die. And so of course he will come back. They say you be careful what you pray for. They say that because you will get it. That's what they say. So he gets it. He doesn't want to die. So he says, yeah, this body can't handle you anymore. So let this body go. I will give you another body. Don't worry. And you want variety, masala you need? Okay. There are so many other bodies you can be born also. So much choice Bhagavan is giving us. And so that fellow, this jiva, keeps going, keeps on going, keeps on going. And that is called saranam, that dhatu. Sri dhatu in Sanskrit. Sri means to move, to go, to keep on going. So samyak sarati, he goes well. Goes well means what? Non-stop. There is no stoppage for this journey. Samyak sarati. This is the meaning of samsara. So in fact, Surya also comes from the same root, Sri. And apparently the sun also moves non-stop. So called Surya. Same root. Surya. Okay. And so samsara, this jiva, whose journey is continuous, and that kind of a life of becoming is called samsara. He's using that, and he's defining that somewhat also. He's saying janma maranadi rupam. So he's defining it very simply. He's saying, hey, this life which has birth and death and others is called samsara. And others means what? Is there anything bigger than janma and marana for a human being? And then he says others also. Because in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says this, right? So chapter 13, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshana. Correct? So some of you have heard that. So with Janma and Mrityu, the story would have been over. But then he knows, they know Janma is there. And then I say, Mrityu is far away. I am not worried about death. Death is, don't talk about death and all that. It's, okay, fine. You won't die. All right, you won't die. We will not talk about death. Sorry that I brought it up. Okay. Then Janma Mrityu. Then he says Jara. Okay, before death there is something called Jara, old age. And old age. And see, they have looked at all this very objectively. So this is why Vedanta is so important, because as we age, life becomes more difficult, and we need to be conscious of it at a younger age, so that we become objective about all these things. So he says Jara. Then I say no, Jara and all chodo, it's long time. I have a lot of, I'm still only 20, 21, I just got a job and it's all great. Okay, Janma, Mrityu, Jara ko chhod do. Vyadhi. Hey, what about disease? Disease, you're not worried about disease? Vyadhi. No, I mean, I'm okay. Occasional headache, cold and all that, I can handle. That's not a problem. I don't complain about all these things. All right, you are blessed. So blessed you are. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, Dukkha. Dukkha is there. What about sadness? And then problems start. And it says sadness is also a Vishesha of this Jiva. And so this Adi here, Janma, Maranadi. That Adi means etc., right? Adi literally does not mean etc. What is the meaning of Adi?
The list beginning with.
Beginning. So Adi means beginning, not etc. In fact, it's the opposite of etc., right? Beginning. So, but the way to interpret this phrase Janma Maranadi is what? That group of things in which Janma and Marana are the beginning. are in the beginning, stated in the beginning. That is the meaning. Which means we interpret it as etc. Janma, Mrityu, etc. Okay. So that kind of samsara happens because of my Bheda Drishti. Bheda Drishti. When I see differences, when I see distinctness, then I am right. I am perfect. I am a perfect candidate for samsara, for this kind of a life. There is no choice. That's what he says. So, Janma Maranadi Samsaraha na nivartate. Na nivartate. So he is saying that kind of a life one has no escape from. Na nivartate. Cannot be removed. Cannot come out of. Why should I come out of this? Well, this dukkha, etc. Nobody comes around saying, I want to be sad and I want to be sick and all that. So, the conclusion is same everywhere. I don't want to be unhappy. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to age. And that is why this industry is there. Flourishing industry. One industry that you want to get into is anti-aging industry. You'll always have customers. There'll always be customers. If not 7.5 billion people, that's still many billions. It's been in billions only. So, na nivartate. Because na nivartate can't be removed. Now, then he says, okay, because of Jiveshwara Bheda Drishti. So, evam upadi bhedat Jiveshwara Bheda Drishti. Because of this, taking the upadhi to be satyam, I have this Bheda Drishti. Yavat paryantam tishtati. So go back to that first part of the sentence. Yavat paryantam tishtati. As long as I make that mistake, as long as I have this Bheda Drishti, correct? As long as I have this Bheda Drishti, so that long, tavat paryantam means so long as, whatever, as long as, and then what comes along with that? So long as, I suppose, or that much, etc. That long, this samsara will be there. That is what is being said here. So therefore, suffering comes from where? Suppose I say I am suffering. I am not happy because my children are not happy. I mean, children are happy. They are so happy, in fact, but they are not studying at all. They are very happy. Children have no problem. They are very happy. But I am not happy because they are not studying. And the teacher constantly sends all these messages also periodically. And parents-teachers meeting, I get invited. And specially invited. I am a special guest because I have a special child in the class. So I am not happy. So I am suffering because of that. And so there's a big list of things why I am suffering. And I blame, if I'm born a Hindu and in India, I will blame stars also. And I will say, my Jatak is like this, and this position is like that, and Shani is there. And Shani is sitting right there for the next 7.5 years. I will be like this. That also I blame the Saturn, poor Saturn, sitting so far away. And how many miles, lakhs of miles, million miles, we don't know. And I blame the Saturn also. So I'm a very smart guy. See, I have enough excuses. I have a lot of things to blame. So suffering comes from where? If I say, Shastram says, it's like this person who is hard to hear at home. And he tells everybody, are you eating properly or not? Why? Your voice is so feeble. You will be. Eat well. This is what he goes around telling people. But that fellow is hard to hear. And so like that I go around. And so, evam upadi bhedat jiveshwara bheda drishtihi yavat paryam tishtati. In this manner, evam upadi bhedat, as long as the perception of the difference that is jiveshwara bheda drishtihi, as long as the perception or conclusion of the difference between the individual and Ishvara, as long as the perception of the difference between the individual Jiva and Ishvara brought about by the differences in Upadhi, brought about by the differences in Upadhi remains. So as long as this remains, comma, until such time, tavat paryantam, until such time, samsaraha. So how will you translate samsara? See, now when you study Vedanta, now you realize that you shouldn't rush into translating something. You shouldn't rush, because once you rush, then you make a wrong translation and you start looking at that word with that translation, and then you may have missed the point also. So samsara, this life of becoming, which is unending, right? So I'm going to just say samsara, I'm not going to translate it. Until such time, comma, samsara in the form of birth, death, etc. Samsara in the form of birth, death, etc. does not come to an end. Does not come to an end. Na nivartate. Okay. So what should I do now? All right, now you've analyzed the problem, and I think I understand the problem. Now what should I do? He's going to say next. So, Rukminiji, would you like to repeat? I think your video is frozen or something.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, now we can hear you. Tasmat.
Tasmat.
Karanat.
Karanat.
Na.
Na.
Jiveshwarayoho.
Jiveshwarayoho.
Bheda buddhihi.
Veda buddhihi.
Svikarya.
Svikarya.
Yeah. So we will continue next class. So he says, na svikarya. Don't accept. Vikaranam means take. Entertain in this case. Therefore, do not entertain this Veda Buddhi. That's what he says. Between Jiva and Ishvara, don't entertain this Veda Buddhi. This idea that there is difference, don't entertain. Like that, he's going to be saying. So we will see that next class. Okay. Om swasti prajabhyah paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Lokas Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyah Prithvi Sasyashalini Deshoyam Kshobarahitah Brahmanas Santu Nirbhayaah Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.
Mind will never be extinct because of Maya. If everybody goes, if Maya's hold was not this strong, everybody would be wanting moksha.
If everybody would, if Maya's hold was not strong,
everybody would aspire to attain moksha. Why is it that this knowledge is only for a small number of people compared to the whole world, right? Meaning, if this is a human problem, why is not everybody thinking that way? Is it prarabdha karma?
So, you know, when I decided to teach this Tattvabodha, okay, I'll give this example, then I switch the example. I put it on Facebook. Facebook is supposed to be all over the world, and it is really open for everybody only. But it doesn't appeal to everybody. Doesn't appeal yet.
Yeah.
So, why? Pujya Swamiji announces a long-term course or a short-term course or a camp. It's meant for everybody. And but the desire to understand, desire to study is not there. So, correct, you're right in a way. So, I am in the spell of Maya. And so, it seems to take something. Take something before somebody says, you know what, there is something more than what my eyes see. And there is something the Shastra is talking about, and I really want to find out what that is. To ask that question, to get that doubt and pursue that, it seems to take something. And the Shastra recognizes that. And so the adhikaritvam we talked about earlier, vivekam, vairagyam, ityadi, mukshutvam, shamadhi, shakka, sampatti, etc. is needed because I am already in the spell of too many things, and I have surrendered myself to a lot of things. Let's put it that way. I've surrendered myself. Raga Dvesha is there, likes and dislikes are there, and I have lost, or I have given up a lot of my objectivity to a point where my thinking also is not there. See, nobody wants to be unhappy, really speaking. And I keep on going in this cycle and thinking that what? Do I think also? I don't know. So I go through this cycle constantly, and suppose it's okay. If I say it's okay, then what you say happens, right? So okay, fine, I live, I die, I do a good job, whatever, during my life, and I pass away. Then what? Next birth, If it is there, let it be there. Like that, if that is my attitude. That in fact, if the person says, I do what is to be done, I follow dharma, and that person, that itself is a great attitude, right? That itself is a great attitude. But even there, people can fall in their view and in their actions, carried away by too many attractions, too many things. Easy money, easy this, easy that. There's just so many things. And so that's a beauty in a way, Swapna. That's a beauty because the human beings is endowed, correct? Now what do they say? They say, give a person all the power, then you will know that person, his true character. Give him all the power, then we will see what he does. Then you will see the true character come out. So that is what we are in right now. We are completely endowed, fully conscious, self-conscious. Buddhi is given, everything is given. How do I use all these things? It's up to me. So that's how the scheme of things are, or if scheme of things is. And so it is neither depressing. I don't think we can say it's depressing because hey, people don't want it. What can you do about that? So that's the way it is. And that's why Shastram is also always there. And people realize there is Shastram, and Shastram is what saves us, and I cannot move myself too far away from the Shastram. All that also is there in the back of the mind. So somewhere along the line, the Shastram comes and protects us. But so I think we can't, I'm not ready to pass a judgment also, whether it is sad or everything. It is sad means what? If I say, suppose I say it's sad, and nobody says it is sad. They are leading a happy life. Nobody comes and says, see, they are sad if they are sick and they're sitting in the bed, lying in the bed, yeah, it's sad. But then what? After that, no questions are being asked. So what, I can't even say it is depressing or sad. I think it is okay. Things are, Ishvara is too good. And so we just go along with it and we be part of this, and that's a beauty, I think. Srishti, Ishvara Srishti. Okay. Power cut. Now, this is the laptop and all. That's one good thing. Is it has a battery. So things. The main things we need to continue. Cell phone,
So another thing, a friend of mine, this was funny. A friend of mine said that she would like to attain moksha and again come back and live a life of a human life and just be without, meaning as a, I guess, jnani, right? So that was a very I don't know, is that even possible? Meaning moksha, does it mean rebirth? Once somebody attains moksha, is there a rebirth? There's no rebirth, right?
So 2 points we can make here. So moksha, whether Advaita Vedanta or whether the Dvaitins and Vishishtadvaitins talk about, all moksha means after this life there will not be another life. So that in that there is agreement, because that is the goal. The goal has been achieved, and so after that there is no more journey. That much is agreed. Now, this statement that I want to get moksha and be born again as a jnani, it might come from a desire to do good. It might come from a desire to do good. Because I know, and I want to teach. I want to help others. As simple as that. That I think I'm inferring that from that question. That otherwise, sometimes they will say this also. It's a waste of life. And you get knowledge. And then, okay, you teach for some time. And then you go away. And then you're gone. Hey, who are you to say it's waste and all these things? You take care of yourself. Do you understand what the person is talking or not? And what are you doing about that? No comments are made about that. Baad mein dekhenge. And you are commenting on all these jnanis and sannyasis and all that. This is not acceptable. So you take care of yourself. That's what we say. And Shastra also says that you take care of yourself. You don't worry about who is going to preserve these Vedas and what happens. This, okay, all that is a separate question. But you are diverting the attention from yourself. That is the point there. So I think I look at her question as coming from a good intention. That, okay, yeah. So I want to learn, I want to teach, and I want to keep on teaching. And maybe if I come back in the next birth as a human being, I can do that same thing. So that's a good intention. But it may happen like that also in the sense. It may happen like this. Ramana Maharshi is there. So, born ready, just something we say was not available in the last Janma and born. And then rest of the life he was available for the humanity, for Indians he was there. And his fame spread far away, all over the world also. So that is an example right there where that person was very much a source of inspiration and teaching for all of us. So it can take on forms like that also. So the technical answer is no. After moksha, there is no Janma. So that means what? I want to come back next Janma, but I can't get moksha, because if I get moksha, I can't come. So therefore, I should go to classes, but once I begin to understand, I should stop attending classes. And now that we don't have to worry about all that. So we just so there is all that. Those thinking is all there. So that thinking also, that thinking comes from many people who do a lot of or seva oriented people. I've seen it in other organizations too, and they really give their life for humanity, for the rest, for the people. And some of them don't think highly of the Shastram and all that. Means, once you have given everything, then what is there to do? And in fact, they may even put down. They may even slightly put down people who are studying the Shastram and all. Because sometimes they don't see such people, reaching out and helping people, things like that. They don't see the seva bhava, maybe, among the people who study, etc. So those things might be there. But that's different.